Boom! We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's your boy Nolan Hawkeye Anthony here, and I hope you guys are having a fantastic day wherever you may be and however you may be listening. I just want to start off by saying how grateful I am, and I know Dean is. You know, the channel has absolutely skyrocketed. We in the past week, we've gone from 200 subs to 250. And it's all because of you guys. You know, you guys are making this happen. And it is quite amazing. And, you know, from the beginning, what I've been saying is that there's no one else who does this that's an Iowa fan. There's some people who do a podcast and they have people on, but they don't do a YouTube channel like how I run it, where, you know, I do fun videos like the top candidates to replace Kirk Ferentz, you know, when the time is right. Ultimately, the big difference between me and Chad Leistikow, I know I pick on him a lot, but the ultimate difference between me and Dean and Chad Leistikow is, you know, Chad is doing the job. He is hired to do what he does. And I don't know where he went to school. I don't know where he grew up, but me and Dean are die-hard Iowa fans. We are coming at this from an Iowa Hawkeye perspective. And I think you guys have noticed that. And that's what you guys appreciate the most about this. And this is really a way for us to come together and really just hang out and have a good time. So anyways, with that being said, I want to introduce my partner, Dean. Dean, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic today.
It's good to see you.
It's Saturday. It's game day. How can you not be doing good?
You know, Dean, last year we did this and, you know, we would go live on Facebook and you know, things like that. I've said many times, I wish I would have listened to you and started this YouTube journey much sooner, but it is what it is. But last year, and you and me fought to make it happen for the last year to move forward and actually capitulate and happen. And it did, but it wasn't the same. You know, this year, and I kind of wanted to keep saying this because of how important it is to me, but the vibes, the emotions, and everything that is involved with the Saturday morning. I mean, Dean, I can still, when Friday rolls around, I can still feel the feelings that I get with the weather in Sacramento. You know, how it's cold in the morning, and I know it's football season. I know it's about to be game day. You know, you get up, you go work out, you go to the gym, whatever it is. For me, it was training for basketball or water polo, and then after that you have the Hawkeyes, and it's just an awesome day. So this is awesome all the way around. What do you think, Dean?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I just, let me tell a little story about when I grew up being a Hawkeye fan, because I've been a Hawkeye fan since I was born and raised in Iowa City for the first 10 years of my life. And my dad would wake up every Saturday morning of a football game, and he'd have every radio in the house, because, you know, in those days, TV wasn't as easily to come by. If you were on TV, that means you were playing a very good team or something.
Right.
Anyway, so every radio station in the house would be tuned in. I think he listened to Bob Brooks back in those days out of KCRG.
Ooh, nice.
And so it didn't matter. That's how I got to be a Hawkeye fan, because, you know, it's just like every radio, you couldn't help but listening. My dad made sure that no matter what room he was in our house or what he was doing, that he could hear the score and the play-by-play. And I'm pretty sure it was Bob Brooks, because we, you know, of course, growing up in Iowa City and Waterloo, we didn't live that far from KCRG radio.
Yeah, you guys were right next to the Hawkeyes, baby, right next to it, next door.
Yeah, and going to the games and stuff. So, yeah, there's something special about Saturdays. There's something special about when you actually go to a game and go to a tailgate and just seeing all the people and everybody loves everybody. You could stop by any tailgate and somebody would give you something to drink.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you go park your car and and stuff. So yeah, there's nothing
The
better
one
than a
game that I
Hawkeye
went
Saturday
to.
in
Go
Iowa
ahead,
City.
Dean. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say there's nothing better than a
Yeah,
Hawkeye Saturday in Iowa City.
There's not. The one game, that's a really awesome story. Obviously I've heard it before. I'm glad you shared it with our listeners. Dean, there's a few Iowa Hawkeyes that Dean went to school with. Chuck Yagla is one of them, and we've had him on the show, 3 times now?
I think 2 or 3 times, yeah, at least.
Yeah, two or three times. And the national champ in wrestling. And it is so cool to be a part of something. And above everything, what I want to do is to make you guys feel a part of a community, that we are in this together. We come together on a Saturday, we hang out, we have a good time. We talk Iowa Hawkeye sports. And it's as simple as that. I don't know what else to say about it, but yeah, Dean, seriously, the one game I went to, the Iowa versus Wisconsin game at Iowa, I think it was 2016, maybe 2017. It was Nate Stanley's second year being at the helm as a starting quarterback. And I didn't even get the full game day experience, but it still is one of the best days of my life. I literally met one of the people that I sat next to was a fellow Californian who he was a producer on one of Long Beach radio's stations. And I've gone on his radio station and talked Iowa Hawkeye sports. I met a few people at a little house party that was just so fun. It was really great. Of course, I was down there to kind of push Cavante Martin Manley's 2-star clothing line. But it was awesome. And the game day atmosphere was really, really amazing. And I will never forget it. I need to get back down there again and do it again. But I just wanted to share with you guys how I feel about it and how much you guys should remember this feeling of what it feels like, because as we've seen, apparently it can be taken away. And so it's good to remember all of the good things. So Dean, I got to tell you something. Okay. And I totally forgot about this, but one of my PE teachers, now for flag football, I was the starting quarterback, but because I was playing so many other sports, I just didn't really want to get injured playing football. So I freshman year I played, but then I transitioned into less. The varsity head football coach, Coach Jimenez, was the starting quarterback for Colorado State way back when. And Iowa had not played Colorado State for a long time, but I'm also a Colorado Buffalo fan, so I'm very close to that rivalry. And it's just crazy, all the connections that can be made. We had a Colorado State fan check out one of the videos. I think it was the pregame video I did for Iowa versus Colorado State. And he basically gave an insider's fan look into Colorado State, one that I could not give as an Iowa fan. And apparently Colorado State is not so good, but they have a really good punter, Dean. And who knows, maybe they can win this game with their punter. What do you think?
Well, not only I don't know much about their punting at all, but I will say this much: they have not a number one, but a first-round draft pick and a tight end.
Yes,
they've got, and
yes.
He catches it on an average of 10 balls plus for 100 yards a game. So I think the key thing is keep the ball out of his hands, and if they do that, Iowa should have no problem with this game.
I absolutely agree. Last week was really a chance for Iowa to get some confidence against Kent State. I thought that they moved forward in a mostly positive direction. There were still some things that were not perfect. The way that I continue to look at it is that Iowa continues to obliterate teams not playing their best football. And for me, it comes down to just thinking what they will be able to do, what they will be capable of when they are playing their best football. And they, in my eyes, Dean, they are absolutely capable of doing it. We've seen what Tyrone Tracy can do. We've seen what Nico Reganey can do. I'm excited about Keegan Johnson and Arlen Bruce. I think the two things that might change from the first couple weeks in this game, Dean, would be, I think Iowa is going to attack the passing game with more of a group effort. It's not going to be, like it was the last couple of years with four guys, but primarily two guys in Brandon Smith and Amir Smith-Marset. This year, I don't think they're just going to go with Tyrone Tracy and Nico Reganey. I think we're going to see, Dean, Iowa really go to the young freshmen, Arlen Bruce and Keegan Johnson. We've seen the walk-on wide receiver get some targets. Who knows? Maybe there will be some other guys that get meshed up in there. And then at the running game, I got to tell you, Dean, I don't. Kirk Ferentz seemed pretty confident about Ivory Kelly Martin, but I think his leash is quite short. I think Gavin Williams is nipping at his heels. And for me, I'm not really rooting for anybody. I just want the best 1-2 punch. That I believe that Iowa's top facet, the most important facet of their team is the running game. And all I want is the top two guys to get the carries at the end of the day. And I've been a pretty vocal supporter of Ivory Kelly Martin in the past.
Yes, you
but
have.
I got to say, Dean, I'm just not sure that he's going to continue to get the job done. What do you think about that? And just let the fans know what you think is what we should look forward to with the Iowa Hawkeye offense today.
I think you're gonna see Ivory Kelly Martin out there. I mean, Kirk has pretty much said that Ivory's been a leader, been experienced, is a fine young man, and he likes to make sure that he's playing those guys. He wants to be loyal to those guys, and I think he's going to continue to give Ivory, playing time. He's going to get playing time today, guys. Hopefully he doesn't lose the ball or cough it up today. Hopefully he's figured out how to secure that ball. If not, Gavin's waiting in the wings, and Gavin,
Yes.
We're going to see him today because I just got a feeling that this game is going to get out of sorts in the second half, and we're going to see some catches by Arlen Bruce. We're going to see some catches by Keegan Johnson. We're going to see Gavin Williams run the ball a little bit, and maybe the other Williams too.
I would like to see LaShawn Williams, Dean. I really would. I would like to see what he's capable of, especially with what we saw in the preseason for the Iowa Hawkeyes, him doing so well.
Yeah, and actually, wasn't he like the number 3 running back coming out of camp, and Gavin's getting?
It was. He was definitely in the top 4, but he surfaced into a contender when camp was done, for sure.
Right. Yeah, and Kirk has also said in his interview that he is comfortable using 6 to 7 wideouts this year.
And I'm fine with that. If they need to do that to get the passing game going, fine. That's fine.
I think you saw that against Kent State. It seems like a million different people were catching balls, but Tyrone and Laporta were both the two guys catching all the balls. I think they both had 5 or 6 catches each. I can't remember. Tyrone had the one taken away, or he would have been the team leader. That's just still, he got robbed.
He did get robbed on that. But Dean, what I said in the post game with Tyrone Tracy is the bottom line is, and there's a lot of people who are hashtag quarterback people who blame the quarterback no matter what. Mm-hmm. And the bottom line is that the difference between David Bell and Tyrone Tracy, aka an elite receiver, and somebody like Tyrone Tracy, right? And I'm not saying Tyrone Tracy cannot become an elite wide receiver, but the difference is, and I saw this firsthand at the collegiate level for water polo, there are certain guys who just know how to come down with catches like Tyrone Tracy had last week, but he ultimately dropped. Even if he was robbed, elite guys find a way to catch that and make it happen. And he also had a drop earlier in the game. that was a spot on pass by Spencer Petras. So, you know, that's kind of my take on it.
Yeah. And, you know, people like David Bell, they can out jump people. He out jumps people and comes down. He's got sure hands. Plus he's always had a quarterback who knows how to get him the ball. You know, the jury's still out on Spencer because he's still throwing a little long, a little short, making it tough on his receiver. And if I remember the one pass that the pass that Tyrone had overturned, I believe he had to do a little bit of acrobatics to catch that ball. And I think that's, you know, when he landed on the ground, I think that's what caused them to overturn the
pass or the
catch. Yeah, whatever. And so I believe that it's because, you know, Tyrone did a great job of snagging that ball and rolling around with it to get it. But had Spencer put it exactly where it needed to be, you know, Tyrone would probably still be running for the end zone.
Yeah, I got to say, Dean, I see it totally differently. I see Tyrone Tracy, if Iowa's wide receivers are going to finally be as explosive as we think they can be, and again, the difference between a good wide receiver and elite wide receiver is coming down with a catch like that. You know, even if it is not a perfect pass by Spencer Petras, they find a way because their hands are excellent. They're gamers, as people you know are known to call them. So that's kind of my take on the receivers is being average is catching everything that is perfectly thrown your way, whereas being elite is finding a way to help your quarterback out occasionally. And I'm not sure I can say that Iowa's receivers necessarily help Spencer out, and Spencer's not perfect either. But anyways, I'm gonna go to the comments here, Dean, on YouTube. Corn and Cattle says, let's go Hawks with like 20 O's. William Swafford, good afternoon, Nolan. Go Hawks. What's up, Will? Nice to see you. Corn and Cattle again. My two favorite teams are Iowa and whoever plays Nebraska. Listen, I totally agree. I'm not a Nebraska lover. You guys know that. I have been one of the only people to say since day one that Nebraska's head coach, Scott Frost, was not the end-all be-all. You know, we'll see what happens this year, but right now it certainly does not seem, it doesn't seem perfect. I'll say that. And I think Nebraska, by the end of this year, will probably be looking for a new head coach. I don't expect Kirk to run up the score, but a 10-point spread easily. Yeah, Iowa are 22.5-point favorites in this game. Want so much to throw more, but Spencer must quit staring down one receiver. On that, we are agreed. Spencer does get tunnel vision when he makes certain passes, and that can be quite frustrating sometimes. But again, I don't like blaming everything on the quarterback. Football is just so much of a team sport. And, you know, sometimes you do have to be critical of the wide receivers. And if Iowa is going to have this renaissance of the wide receiver position, like so many people are saying, which I do think that they are to a certain degree, they need to help out their their quarterback a lot more. We always see that, you know, Rondell Moore would find a way to come down with every pass. Same thing with David Bell. Dean, I wanted to ask you and I put this on Facebook, you know, all the other websites make you pay for the Pro Football Focus, but your boy does not. And Spencer Petras is 47th, according to Pro Football Focus, in the country. What do you think? Does that surprise you? Not so much. What do you think?
Not so much. He's about where I think he would have been. He's not an elite quarterback, but he's not a bad quarterback either. You know, he's won 9 games in a row, about to win 10. He's not super bad as much as people make him out to be.
Right.
He's just, you know, he's an average quarterback right now, and that's all we need right now with this team. Is we just need average.
That's all we need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I totally agree with that assessment, Dean. That's all we need. Iowa, at the end of the day, folks, and don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. And I'm going to go over. I'll show you guys some more of the Pro Football Focus grades of other Iowa players. I did so in the preview video I did for Iowa versus Colorado State that has 1.2 thousand views at this point, all because of you guys, not because of me. And oh, Dean, I didn't tell you this, but there was someone who did a copyright strike on one of my videos. One of them was a pretty well received video. The other one didn't get as many views. Mm-hmm. And by the way, they are not copyrights. Okay. All you have to do to make something not copyright is comment on the video. If you pause it and you comment on it, it is not copyright because now you have changed it to a totally different piece of art. Okay. And that's what we do in our videos. I make sure that we do that. But I was just thinking, like, who has the time? Who has the time to complain about a copyright strike? I mean, that's
so
just
what
crazy.
Happens? So what happens when you get a copyright strike? They take it off, or what do they do?
No, nothing. Well, the monetization, you lose monetization. And we're not there yet. I mean, by the way, hit the subscribe button. It really helps us a lot. We are this close to being at 250. Last week, we were at 200 subs, and we've gotten 50 in the past week or close to it. So I hope you guys consider doing that. And if you don't think we've earned it, at the very least, like, comment, share. It really means a lot when you guys do that. But once our channel can be monetized, what happens when somebody claims copyright is you cannot monetize that video. What I did is I sent in a thing saying that it was not copyright, and now YouTube will check it over and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. But now when you had your pro football scores up there, or scores, I did take note that Spencer is ahead of Purdy.
Yes, he is
in the rankings. It wasn't Purdy considered a Heisman candidate at the start of the year?
He sure was, Dean. He sure was.
I don't think he's Heisman candidate anymore. And I guess I'd like to know
where he.
Where's the Indiana quarterback on this list? I'd like to know where he's at too.
That's what I was about to do. I was going to count the Big Ten quarterbacks. So Tulea Tagovailoa from Maryland is the top-ranked quarterback in the Big Ten. Cade McNamara of Michigan is second. Let's see here. C.J. Stroud is third. Peyton Thorne is fourth. The quarterback that Iowa played last week is actually ahead of Spencer Petras. Sean Clifford is fifth. Spencer Petras is the Adrian Martinez is sixth. So that means Spencer Petras is graded as the seventh best quarterback in the Big Ten right now. I don't know
right in the middle. Right in the middle.
He's right in the middle. I don't know for sure where the Indiana quarterback is. I'll see if I can find it. But there was someone who commented and said, maybe this is an example that Pro Football Focus's grades are not perfect. And I get what he was saying. However, Tyler Linderbaum is top 10. Who else is top? Cody Ince is top 10. There's multiple Iowa players that are top 25 at their position. And my only point in saying that is to say that if you're going to say that Spencer Petras's grade is not reliable, then you have to say it for the rest. You can't just say it for one and not say it for the rest. You have to say it for all, that you don't trust all of them. So, Dean.
So Linderbaum's not number one at his position? Because I thought he was.
No, he is top. The Indiana quarterback is 167th. Let's pull up the centers here for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And let's take a look. He is top 10. It's Connor Colby, the true freshman, is top 5. Tyler Linderbaum is second in the country with a grade of 84.7. So listen, the grade is not perfect, but I think it's pretty reliable. I mean, if Tyler Linderbaum's second in the country with his grade, I think it's pretty reliable. And it's important to note that Pro Football Focus does not take into account stats. What they take it, they grade each individual play for each individual player and give that player a grade. I'm gonna pull up the guards here as well. So okay. Tyler Linderbaum is second in the country. Connor Colby, the true freshman out of Cedar Rapids, is sixth in the country. Justin Britt is 10th. And
guess what?
Go ahead.
Guess what? I don't think Connor Colby was a starter, but he's starting today.
He might be starting today.
Let me look this up. Let me look it up real quick. I have it right here somewhere.
He has not started, but I'm gonna pull his thing up. But he does have 80 snaps that he has played altogether. He has 88 snaps that he has played.
He's starting in place of Justin Britt today.
Dang.
Justin Britt looks like he's going to play because he's going through warmups, according to the information I've got.
I got it. I gotta spark up my stogie, Dean. I've been waiting far too long to do that.
Oh,
the guys who have sell the cigars, they are Cubans through and through. One of the guys can barely speak a damn word of English, but they sure do sell really, really good cigars. I'll tell you that much. You know, I wonder if Iowa has cigar shops. I don't know, but
I don't know about that. But we have one here in Bakersfield, not too far from my house.
Nice. Justin Britt is ranked 10th. At his position, Cody Ince is ranked 16th. And so this is what this means, guys. The interior of the offensive line for Iowa is doing just fine. It's the outside, the tackle position, Nick DeJong. I kept calling him Nick DeJong, but many people in the comments, got on me about calling him DeJong. It's DeJong. It's Mason Reichman or Richmond. It's Richmond or Reichman. I'm not sure. And Nick DeJong, who are the lower graded guys on Iowa's offensive line. So that is the spot that Iowa needs to get much better. And then another position that people were surprised by is the linebacking group for Iowa. Now, again, Justin Jacobs is graded 4th in the country. Okay. But people were shocked that Jack Campbell was so far down. I mean, he is far down, Dean. He's like 200 or something like that. I'll see if I can find him. But it doesn't really, again, if you're going to take away the grade of 1, you need to basically say that all of the grades are worthless. You cannot pick and choose which ones are acceptable and which ones are not. Really quickly, guys, I'm going to give you guys the scores around the Big Ten. I'm going to check out some comments from you guys and give the comments. Bowling Green on top of Minnesota, 14-10. Woo! Woo!
Wow, surprising.
And that is kind of surprising. Notre Dame and Wisconsin are tied at 10 apiece. I got to say, that doesn't really surprise me, guys. Notre Dame has already almost lost 2 weeks, 2 times this year. Okay. This is not Notre Dame of last year. This Notre Dame team is very young. I listened to Joel Klatt, who, by the way, had Kirk Ferentz on his show. I think I'm going to play that for you guys. But he said that Notre Dame's offensive line is very young. Notre Dame's team is very young. You do have the ex-Wisconsin quarterback playing his former team in Jack Cohn. But overall, what I'm trying to say, guys, is if Wisconsin beats Notre Dame, it will not surprise me. And it will not make me think that Wisconsin is better than what I think they are now. I view them as about anywhere. I think they can be as good as a top, somewhere 15-10. But right now, I see them about 15-25. That's where I see them in the landscape right now. So Penn State is on top of Villanova, 38-3. Northwestern is on top of Ohio, 20-0. And that's it. That's it for now. Later today, Illinois plays Purdue. That's a pretty big game for both teams. Maryland plays Kent State. It would not surprise me if Kent State finds a way to make that game interesting. Rutgers plays Michigan. That's a big game. Two 3-0 opponents. And Nebraska versus Michigan State. I would say, Dean, Rutgers and Michigan, as well as Nebraska versus Michigan State, are probably the two biggest games of this weekend. What do you think?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Especially the Nebraska at Michigan State. Michigan State, wow. Man, here after last year, we kind of thought that they weren't going to do much, but, here they are, surprising everybody, ranked 20th, 3-0, and
they haven't played anybody, Dean.
I know it, and they're not playing anybody today either. But
that's true.
But after Nebraska's, performance against Oklahoma, is it because Oklahoma played bad, or because Nebraska played great, or Nebraska played above their head last week?
That's a good question. I don't know. And this weekend will tell us what the answer is for that. All right, here we go. Let's read some of the comments from you great folks out there. Joseph Walters, 45-10 Iowa. Love it. LH comments, go his response is MFN Hawks, but go mucking Hawks! Exclamation point. Love it. Brody Stevens, go Hawks. Joseph Walters, hopefully they get a good starting five and can rotate 2 or 3 for depth. I will definitely be paying attention to the O-line this game. Me too, Joseph. This Iowa, Tim Polasek, and this is why I had Tim Polasek as my top guy to replace Kirk Ferentz when the time comes, because not only does he have the experience as an offensive coordinator, he has also shown an ability to recruit at a high level and develop guys and put them in the NFL. This current crop of Iowa offensive linemen is as talented as any other time in Kirk Ferentz's tenure. Mason Reichman was a 4-star guy. Cody Ince was a 3-star. However, he was a top 3 player considered in the state of Wisconsin. Tyler Linderbaum was a 4-star guy, U.S. Army All-American. Justin Britt, Iowa went into the state of Indiana, pulled Justin Britt, who is a high 3-star. Nick DeYoung was a walk-on, but that's okay. Iowa does that sometimes. Connor Colby, high 4-star player. I can go on and on and on. A lot of talent on this Iowa Hawkeye offensive line. So, I am a pretty big fan of Tim Polasek. By the way, guys, comment what you guys think is going to happen today in the comment section, and I will read your guys' comments. I am very curious to see if Iowa's offense can get back on track. More specifically, how the running game comes into shape. Who will be the top 2 that Iowa decides to go with going into Big Ten play? And what will Iowa do at the wide receiver position? Will they decide to go at it with a few guys and pump in a lot of tight ends for receiving? Or will they have more of a group effort with Luke Lachey being the blocking tight end and Sam Laporta being the primary passing tight end? Because in years past, what Iowa does is they have 1 or 2 wide receivers, and then they put in a lot of bodies at tight end. So that's what they do. Yes, I would take Joseph Walters. How many passing touchdowns do you guys think we will get today? I'll go with 2. What do you think, Dean?
2 sounds about right. I'll go with maybe 3 because, Tyler's going to rush for a couple like he did last week.
I like it. But two is a good bet. 2 is a good bet. Yeah, I would take Polasek over Brian at offensive coordinator. I got to agree. And now here's the thing. I don't want you guys to think that I don't think Brian Ferentz is a good coach, because I do. The guy is one of the best tight end coaches, not only in college football, but in the world. Okay. He knows how to coach the tight end position and the offensive line. Yep. Also, Iowa's offense has been much better than what Ken O'Keefe was able to do and what Greg Davis was able to do at the offensive at the offensive side of the football. What do you think, Dean?
Oh, correct. Wasn't Polosak before he came to Iowa? Wasn't he the offensive coordinator at North Dakota State? And they could put points on the board.
Yes, he was the offensive coordinator at North Dakota State when they won a national championship, and I'll actually pull his Wikipedia up here in a second. Okay. And now he is the offensive coordinator at Wyoming.
Boy, I'll tell you, going to Wyoming is definitely a step down from Iowa. But honestly, though, it gets him back in the offensive coordinator spot. I mean, because he was offensive coordinator at a powerhouse Division II type team. I can't even what they call that now, that new division.
No, Wyoming is a Division I school. Right. North Dakota State is FCS, whereas Wyoming is FBS. FBS, correct. But they are a group of 5 teams. So
I understand that's the reason why he went from Iowa to Wyoming, because he wants to get his foot back. He eventually wants to head coach at the Division I level, and I think he's headed in the right direction. Good for him. I mean, he's going to have a very successful career no matter where he goes and ends up eventually.
And as I said at the time, I think Tim Polosak left because of the heat that came on the Iowa program. And to be honest, I can't blame him for it. The heat at the time, I'm surprised Iowa did not lose more coaches because, and it's not an admission of guilt or anything like that. It's just, it's more of just a desire to get away from the heat. All I'm saying is that it makes sense that he decided to go elsewhere. I'm going to show you guys his coaching career. He's coached at Wisconsin Stevens Point, with North Dakota State, Northern Illinois, North Dakota State, Iowa, and Wyoming. That's a pretty good, it's a pretty good resume, Dean. For me, it virtually comes down to the fact that Iowa will need to go after someone that is very similar to Kirk, who has not had very much head coaching experience, but has been excellent as a position coach, or they go with more of a seasoned guy who doesn't have as high of a ceiling. So we will see what happens. I'm going back here.
He would definitely get my vote for new head coach to replace Kirk when Kirk decides it's all done and over. So
he would for me too. That's why I had him at number 1. I don't know if you see this here, Dean, but Seth Benson is 98 as one of the linebackers, and even further down is Jack Campbell here. I mean, he is all the way at 279.
I wonder how they grade these guys out. I mean, what their grading system is, because Jack Campbell's been playing. He's been playing a great season.
What Pro Football Focus does is they grade each individual play. Okay, they don't grade stats. So someone could have excellent stats, but their grade for each individual play for each individual player is not as considered as high, and that's how they grade it, Dean. They grade each play.
Do you think that they have enough people to have eyes on all these people every week?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Somebody has to be watching an awful lot of film every week.
I asked the same question. I really don't know. Matt Hankins is considered the second best corner in the country, and Riley Moss is considered the 15th best corner in the entire country. And again, that doesn't really surprise me. That is about accurate. It's about accurate. So
I agree.
That's just what it is.
And people who are upset with Riley Moss for giving up 2 big plays last week.
It happens. It happens.
Go sit down. It happens. It happens. Go sit down. It happens.
It happens, baby.
He only got 1 touchdown out of that. So
right,
there.
Exactly. I think Sam Laporta is top 70. We're going to wrap this up here soon, guys. I think I'm going to play the interview between Kirk Ferentz and Joel Klatt, because I thought that was a really cool interview. I like Joel Klatt a lot. But I don't want to make this too long. And then we'll finish up by looking at Colorado State's stats. Tyler Goodson is 128, by Pro Football Focus. So again, I don't think it's perfect, but I think it probably is about correct.
He's going to move up the list. Starting today, he'll move up.
You think so?
Oh, I know.
I hope so. I really do.
I know so. He's gonna break out. The offensive line's gonna get him some more holes. He's gonna break out and he's gonna do some things.
Here it is. Let me change the share. Let me put the sound on for you guys, and we will get this rolling. By the way, guys, while I'm doing this, again, thank you guys so much for hanging out here. This channel has grown like crazy. It really means a lot. I hope you guys do consider hitting that subscribe button. Ultimately, I want to make this a community of just brothers in arms for Iowa Hawkeye fans, and that's what we will ultimately do. And we are well on our way in doing so.
Off berth with either UCLA, Oregon, you never know. Coming up, the coach of the team I just mentioned, the Iowa Hawkeyes, Kirk, a college football coach. You've been at Iowa forever. You guys are doing an amazing job. A couple of ranked wins, only team in the country that can say that. You beat Indiana and then the in-state rivalry, and I know it's an emotional game. Trust me, I get it, especially being on the road, beating your rival, Iowa State.
Joel Klatt, by the way, guys, was he was a professional pitcher, and it did not work out. And he also became an alcoholic, I believe. And then he got clean and sober, and he ended up playing for the Colorado Buffaloes, breaking all kinds of records.
Yeah, we're really pleased with that part of it. And to your point about the Iowa State game, it's always a big game, always has been for everybody in our state. You know, it's great for our state.
What a class act he is, Dean. I mean,
it's really
man, we have been blessed as Iowa fans to have two back-to-back head coaches from, two of the best men in the country of all time, not just, during our lifetime.
Right.
Contest for everybody involved, and it's usually a really tough game, and Saturday was no exception.
Now, you guys have faced a couple of offenses that a lot of us thought were going to be very potent coming into the season. Indiana with Michael Penix at quarterback, obviously Brock Purdy and Breece Hall for Iowa State, and you guys have held these quarterbacks totally
Iowa's
in
defense
check,
is truly elite, guys. By the way, I'm pausing it because I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike. That's all.
Completion percentage, 6 interceptions, no touchdowns. What are you guys doing defensively right now that is working out so well?
I think, probably the answer is just playing great team defense, and that's really what we've done when we've been playing defense well throughout the years. And it really started with Norm Parker years ago, and then Phil's done a great job taking over this past decade. But it gets down to just great team defense. We had tremendous respect for both opponents for obvious reasons. Veteran quarterbacks that were accomplished. You mentioned, the running back at Iowa State.
Yeah,
got an outstanding tight end as well.
It is. I can't stress this enough. It is elite what Iowa's defense has done the past couple of weeks and going into last year.
Good receivers, and then the receiver at Indiana is as good as you're going to face. So. Really, proud of the way the guys responded to that. And then our biggest concern really was up front on the defensive line. I think those guys have done a good job. They've grown a lot in 2 weeks. And, I'm excited about both sides of the ball on the line of scrimmage because I think we have a lot of opportunity for growth.
You've talked about growth and needing to get better, and listen, every coach is in that mold, and this is what's
Joel Klatt is still pretty shredded, Dean. He's in great shape. I gotta say, as someone who's still working out myself, and you too, Dean. I mean, it's cool to see somebody in shape like that.
about development from the first couple of games to what you can be, trying to play your best when you get into the month of November, right? That's what this sport is all about. So where are the areas, Coach, that you would like to see improvement from your Hawkeyes?
Yeah, first of all, you're exactly right about that, and it's especially true here. And I don't know a lot about a lot of things.
I don't know a lot about a lot of things, but I do know football.
I've been 30 years at this institution, I guess 30 plus. And historically, that's usually September is usually a challenging month for us. And our best teams have really improved in the months of October and November based on trying to get a foundation built in September. So we're really looking at
that will be big, getting Kyler Schott back. However, again, Iowa's issue is on the outside of the offensive line, not the inside.
Injured his foot right at the end of July, so he's been out until this week. So that made us younger. Tyler Linderbaum's obviously an experienced player, and then we've got Zach Van Bolkenberg on defense. Those are the only two really returning veterans that we had. So, to watch those guys grow, play, and they're going to learn from the experiences. We've had two tough, challenging games, and these next couple of weeks are really important too. Hopefully we'll see more growth and development, more cohesion on the offensive side. And I think once we get that, then our skilled players are going to be able to probably perform a little bit better. So that's
again,
probably
don't want to get the copyright strike. And then I'm going to read some of your guys' comments about that interview. If you guys really, really want to see the interview, just comment and I'll continue playing it. But I think that the most important thing about what Kirk Ferentz said is the more cohesive the rest of the Iowa Hawkeye team gets, the more the Iowa skill players will be able to level up and improve. And, that's a textbook answer for a complementary type football team. The need to have your big dogs get everything moving forward. And then by doing that, you can complement the other guys that you have and raise their game even more. And I just love that. I think that is really cool. All right, Dean, let me read some of the comments here. Hopefully we see it a lot of play action passes today. Joseph Walters, do you think Gavin will get more carries than Ivory? I think it'll be about even for Gavin and Ivory with the carries today. And that is what I expect. I think that's what I would do. I would give Gavin a chance and see what he can do. And if he can break through, then the questions have been answered. Great show, Nolan. Thanks. Thank y'all. You guys are so awesome. I love doing this. And we will continue doing this even through the basketball season. And from here on, if you guys can share this out with your other Hawkeye fans, friends, getting people up in here, that would be great. Let's finish this off by checking out Iowa versus Colorado State on ESPN and kind of look at who the top dogs are. For Colorado State, their passer is Cantello, who has 652 yards and 3 TDs, 3 tubs. And on the ground, Bailey has 256 yards on 63 carries. And McBride has 339 yards receiving. Do you know who the tight end's name is, Dean, that Colorado State has that is?
There, it's right there. McBride. Sam Laporta has 169 yards. T. Goodson has 307 yards on the ground. And Spencer Petras has 460 yards and 2 touchdowns. And ESPN Power Index gives Iowa a 96.2% chance of winning this game. Again, Iowa is a 22.5-point favorite for this game. All right, Dean, let's wrap this up by giving our final thoughts before the game starts. My sentiments are very similar to last week's. Iowa needs to shore up some of the loose ends before they get into Big Ten play. It would really make me feel a lot more confident if we can see just more consistency on the offensive end. I said last week, Brian Ferentz, and this is not saying he's a bad offensive coordinator, but he calls the football game like
an offensive lineman. It's very choppy. It's that sometimes there's some calls that he makes that even if they would be completed, it's like for like a 2-3 yard gain, that means nothing. So, hopefully we can see it get back on track. We have seen, Iowa versus USC, when the offense is really chugging along, it looks beautiful and looks great. I will be taking a look at the wide receiver group and the running game to see who Iowa goes with. But really, Dean, this game is for two things: confidence and shoring up any loose ends that you have going into Big Ten play. What do you think, buddy?
Absolutely. I'll be looking, at the wide receiver. I want to see more vertical passing today. They did a lot of horizontal passing last week, which is fine. It moved the ball. Fran Tarkenton lived on horizontal passing and became one of the all-time passers in the league when he was with the Vikings and won a lot of games. But I want to see some vertical passing over the heads down the field. And these guys need to hang on to the ball when they get it. The running back, I would love to see Tyler Goodson get like 200 yards rushing today. I don't think their rush defense is that great. So I think it's a good day for Tyler to bust open a few. And it'd be a good day for the wide receivers. I want to see Keegan Johnson and Arlen Bruce get a little more involved. This would be a perfect game for them. And I want to see the defense play as hard this week as they did against Iowa State and Indiana. Just as hard. I want them to treat this game like they're playing a top 20 team, because next week they got to bring it against Maryland, and we'll talk about Maryland at another time, but Maryland's going to be a handful.
Yeah. I said this last week. It really is hard. I remember some games where we knew we were the better team in water polo, and I don't know why it happens, but it is virtually impossible to look at a team like Colorado State the same way that you look at Iowa State. But the one thing you can always, as Dean said, that you can always make sure that you do is play hard. And Iowa, as long as they do that, it took a little time last week to do it. As long as they do that, they will be just fine. I am going to pick Iowa 45-7 this week. They will win. What do you think, Dean?
I got Iowa 42-13.
Nice.
I'm going to give McBride his due. I think he might burn us a couple times. So I'm going to give a touchdown and then set him up for a couple of field goals.
And I think, like I said, I think Spencer Petras is going to get two tubs, and maybe a few more, and hopefully things will get back on track. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, I hope you guys consider hitting that subscribe button. But if you don't think we've earned it, at the very least, like, comment, and share. It really means a lot when you guys do that. And it is, it's being a part of a community. That's what this is all about. That is what that is my goal, is making this a community where we can get together on Saturdays and hang out and have a good time. I can read your guys' comments. There's one more comment here. I would say he's inconsistent, and I think it's because he overthinks it sometimes. Don't know if that's bad or good, but we need to see better passing. I do think the Iowa passing game gets back on track this week. I think it will be A-okay, and Iowa will be looking good, solid, golden, heading in to their game next week against Maryland. So without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, please consider subscribing. Dean, thank you so much for hanging with us. You are the best. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Last but not, sorry, go ahead, buddy.
I was going to say thank you.
Thank you, and go Hawks. And last but not least, DBAP, don't be a pussy willow, and facts or feelings